Hi everybody and welcome. My name is Stuart Haden, founder of Stormbreach, specialising in authentic leadership. And today I'm going to be a bit disruptive like a storm. The definition of storm is around being disruptive force, and that's definitely what I'm going to bring today, because I want to talk today about how to organise a masterclass. And this is just an absolute no-brainer for me, and I really encourage you to kind of challenge your own thinking and challenge the thinking of others on this one. So, in terms of masterclasses, there's a big problem, because in terms of open courses, where a provider will book a venue, market and promote and put together a one-day workshop, let's say, there's a big problem with those open courses, because right at the top they can be, in all likelihood, quite expensive. So I did some research about a year ago, and I was looking at this area, and I looked at some masterclasses and open courses that were costing, this is in pounds sterling, £499 per person, which is an awful lot of money to hear the guru speak, or hear from the great author or coach or leader. Or you could bring them in for something around the sort of 3,000 mark, so in-house, where you bring them to an organisation or something like that for a day's event. So these open courses are really flawed from a financial point of view, and therefore it's one of the biggest things, time and money. From a money point of view, that really is restrictive, limiting to many people. I'd have to really think long and hard about spending £499 to attend a one-day workshop or programme, however good it might be. But there is a really good solution to that, which is the masterclass approach. So this is what I promote, and this is how I run many of my programs, is a masterclass approach. So this solution here is I charge, and this is just examples, you can look at other providers here, I charge £1,500 for that masterclass. Okay, that's it, that's my price. I think that's good value for money. I think that's providing good value for money on both ends. And for that, up to 30 participants may attend that one-day session. So if you do get 30, then it's £50 per head. Do the math, 499, it's an absolute no-brainer. So the difference here with the masterclass is 30 people can attend, but this time you, whoever you is involved in setting up the masterclass, rather than just turning up to a spoon-served open course. So you end up, in inverted commas, paying for, a venue. So when you run an open program, attend an open program, you pay for that, that venue. So that can be quite expensive, which is where the $499 comes in. Okay. So what you do is you organise a venue, and often that can be done for absolutely free. How many people out of these 30 have access to some kind of free space in their work or community? I've done things with scout huts, community halls, obviously in places of work. So that's just an absolute no-brainer. Don't be paying for a venue, it's pointless. It really is pointless. So organise something yourself, and that's where we can work on this red model in the middle. Risk. So in inverted commas, you pay for the risk. The reason why this cost has to be quite high here is if only 4 or 5 people turn up, okay, I've covered my costs at $499 with a venue and stuff like that. So there's a risk involved in the kind of blue model, but here we're taking that out. Okay, so there's not anyone actually paying financially for that risk. Also, you do your own admin. Okay, so in order to organise a masterclass, there's a bit of admin involved, and you'd be doing that rather than someone in the blue corner here doing it for you, and therefore you having to pay for that. And the marketing and all that stuff that I talked about earlier. So we're basically stripping things out. Materials, often a hidden cost up there. So you either pay for materials if you think you need materials, or very often I just give you them for free. I tend to run workshops, and I take photos of flip charts that we use in the day, rather than being a scripted program. I take photos, stick them in a PowerPoint deck, over to you. You give them out to your participants, job done. You do not need to be getting binders and folders and pens and all that jazz, because that's where the $499 comes in. So if you think $499, venue, risk, admin, materials, that's how it gets bigger and bigger. And what I really want you to do is pay for the magic in the middle, the facilitation, the coaching, the leadership, whatever it might be, not this stuff down here. Expenses come in as well. There will potentially be some expenses in there. I try and keep the expenses as low as possible. I don't want overnight stays, so we will build those in, but they're pretty minimal, and we'd know those at the outset. So the big thing here now, working from an open to a masterclass approach, is this is completely transparent and streamlined. When you're paying your $4.99, you don't really know what the costs are, but I've just shown you what they are, and there's probably even more that I haven't thought of. But this is completely transparent. You come up, 30 participants maximum, paying £50. We know what's transparent. We know about the venue is someone's place of work. We know that risk has been taken out. We know that somebody in this group, like yourself perhaps, is doing the admin. We know that materials are either not needed, or there is a small cost, or they're free, and we know what the expenses are. We can see those. It's a matter of miles and maybe a hotel and maybe a bit of food, if that. So it's really transparent, and also it's just really streamlined. This process up here is pretty big and lengthy, with the marketing, with the promotion, with the activity, fitting in with book launches, whatever it might be. There's quite a lot of stuff up there, which is why $4.99, has to exist really. I'm not challenging this, because if it's less than that, then people are probably not going to make any money, or at worst, a loss. I just think there's a better way to do it. So open courses for me, really challenge open courses and think about this masterclass approach. And my bottom point here really is, if you see someone providing an open course, or there's someone you really think would be great to hear from and to run a workshop, for you, a group that you're a part of, then go to them and say, can you run it in something along these lines? It doesn't have to be exactly this, something along these lines. So about a year ago, I'm part of a learning group. There's only 7 of us, a very small group. And we wanted to spend a day with a very, very well-known coach and author. She does some fabulous work. And we looked at it, and it was this kind of, £400, £500 or £3,000, which, by 7 people is just way too much. Just wouldn't work for us. So we went to this well-known provider of open courses and said, if we found 25 people and a venue and all this stuff, would you deliver it in the same way? And in fairness to her, she said yes. She limited it to 25, that's her prerogative, and that probably fitted with the way the day was structured. Quite particular on venue, so actually she organised the venue, so that was a cost in there that we could have saved potentially, but she was very particular about venue. She doesn't travel a lot these days, and she was a bit ill at the time, so there was a bit of give and take there, but ultimately these prices came right down. We had 25 people in the room with a world-class, and I won't mention her name, but if I did, you'd probably know who she was, world-class facilitator and coach, and it cost us £70 per head for the day. And even that could have been shaved if we wanted to try and save costs, but £70 per head for a world-class coach, facilitator, author, etc. was great value for money. This is part 1. I'm going to do part 2 shortly, so take a look at that in terms of how you actually do it, the nuts and bolts of it. I've got a flyer put together on this, so I can, if you want that, just email me, I'll bung that across to you. Obviously you can tap me up for my masterclasses, or just go to these providers, disrupt, because we don't want this kind of elitist, restricted, limited model. It just doesn't work. It's just not, it just doesn't motivate me in the world of personal development, coaching and leadership and stuff like that. So do ask me for the flyer if you need it. Stay tuned for the second how to, kind of more the process of putting this together, and get out there and disrupt and enjoy some masterclasses that previously you probably couldn't afford.